So I know we've all been in a situation before where, we're going somewhere, going on a date, we're expecting to receive a gift, where there's some form of expectation, right? I know we've all been there. And you get the results and you see what the outcome is, and you're extremely disappointed. I really believe that having expectations or putting these unrealistic, goals or expectations out of a situation could be really harmful for you. I know for a fact that if you have an expectation of something and it doesn't go your way, it's probably going to discourage you and you're not going to want to do that thing again. So, let's say, like I said, you're on a date or you go and ask a girl for her number and she basically is kind of rude to you, or she ignores you, or you just get denied. The chances of you doing that again could be low for some people, and the reason that is because you expect it to be like a movie or like a TV show where they just have these like crazy, not crazy, but they just have these, you know, storylines or plots that aren't really realistic. And I noticed that in movies that are targeted towards women, for some reason, I don't know why, but they all kind of have to do with them like cheating on their lover and falling in love and then starting a family with this guy or like running away from this guy. And I know that's a little bit off topic because my audience is mainly males, but I just think that's kind of funny how the the movie and entertainment industry just sets these like crazy expectations like for women. Like I'll tell you this much, bro. If I got with a girl and I found out that she was married and she was gonna leave her husband for me, that's a no. It's a no for me. Um, but I'll digress from this topic, and I want to talk more about how this could affect you and your mental state, and how it could discourage you from really experimenting or trying things out in your own personal life. So I'll give you a good example of having expectations and it kind of, ruining your day, for example. So when I first started my career as a barber, I used to work around a lot of older guys and they were all established. Like they've been doing it for years on end and they had a lot of clientele. So when I started, and especially being self employed, you're basically making like no money because you have no clientele. So there would be weeks where I would make like $0, and there would be weeks where I'd make like 300, $500. Like it always varied. But since I was new and I was starting, I was happy just to get anything. I was happy just to get anybody in my chair. And if I got a repeat customer when I had zero, it would be the most exciting thing to me. And I literally felt like I was like a master of the barbering game. Like that's how I felt at the time. I was like 18, 19, and I literally just felt like I could rule the world with my skill set. Even though like looking back on it, I was completely trash, dude. Like I probably had to be one of the worst guys that I worked with, but I was working with people who were super established. So the example that I'm going to tell you is that these guys that I would work with, because they were doing it for so long, they had this like expectation of, meeting a certain income goal for the week or for the month or for the day. And the later on I got in my career, I would do this as well. But I want to talk about them. So when they didn't meet their goal, or when they weren't, let's say, satisfied with however much they made, in their mind it was a bad week. So they had this expectation of making a certain amount, and when it didn't happen, they would be really frustrated or they'd be mad. And now, when I got to that point and where I was expecting a certain amount of income and I didn't make it, I would overwork myself just to get that income. So, like later in the week, I would work harder and I would work longer just to get a certain amount of income so I can meet my mental goal that I had for myself. Because the longer you do something, the higher your expectations are. So, with that being said, if you don't meet them, you're just going to be mad at yourself. And I get it, it's good to have expectations and it's good to have goals. But the point I want to make with this is I see a lot of people who have these expectations or who have these specific goals in mind, and when they're not met, they get like frustrated or they put themselves down or they just don't want to do it again or it just puts them in a really bad mood. So I feel like if you're setting yourself up to be put in a mindset of, like you didn't do enough or you're not enough, that's, you know, a snowball effect into a dissatisfied life and a life that'll never be fulfilling enough for what you expect out of it. Now, moving on from the work topic, I think it's important to have goals. Like I said, I truly believe that you should aim high, but also I think as people and especially as like ambitious people, there needs to be an expectation of not meeting those goals. And I think a lot of it is people kind of expect things to happen for them, even though that's not the case. Like me personally, I truly believe that whatever is meant to happen is meant to happen. So you can really dream all you want and you can hope all you want. And, you could pray for things. And I know I do. But as somebody who, believes in God and believes in what's meant to happen, if it doesn't happen for me, I understand that. And I always tell myself, like, whatever you're going to put into my life, you can put into my life. And so having this expectation is it could be like really negative, especially for people who have maybe like a weaker mindset or for younger people. I think that's the big thing is when I was younger, I would always beat myself up about not achieving what I wanted to achieve or not being able to, get what I wanted because I had this expectation in my mind of it'll play out exactly how I believe in it. And I think there's also a power of believing, but there's also a power of faith. And I think along with expectations and belief, there needs to be faith tied into it. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I have a lot of friends and I've met and I do know a lot of people who live like a really simple life or they kind of just like have like a bare minimum lifestyle. And I don't know if you've ever noticed, but to me, from what I've seen, is those people honestly are like the happiest people you can meet. And if we really think about why they're happy, and if we really, look into how they are as a person, they don't have really any expectations and they kind of just go with the flow. And they always talk about just enjoying the journey. Like, I think that's like a really hippie thing to say, is like, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. But if we really take a step back and look at what they're really trying to tell us with, that phrase, is it doesn't matter like where you end up. It just matters that you worked hard and you did your best to get to where you want to go. So yeah, man, I hope you guys don't get discouraged from not having your expectations met, but at the same time, I hope you guys aim high and work to get to where you want to be and, do what you want to do. So I think it's a double-edged sword, and it could be kind of confusing maybe, but I think if you work hard and you just have faith in whatever is meant to be will be, then you're setting yourself up for success. So thank you guys. If you guys like this, go ahead and like and subscribe. I appreciate it. See you guys next time.